Sound advice. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I wanted to give you something that's a little more kind of groove and jazzy, if you will. Now what I've got is I've got my Gibson 335 on the neck position, and I'm going with a really clean sound. Okay, I'm going with just the Fender Twin model on my GT6, but if you have whatever amp you have, you want to just go with a really clean sound, a lot of lows, some mids, and a lot of highs. So it's crisp and clean, but really fat on the bottom end. And then the difference for what I've done for this show is with the reverb, I've used a plate instead of a hall. So if you've got a reverb unit and you have different modes you can select, in this case, I went with the plate instead of the hall. It's just a different sound, a little bit warmer, a little more vintagey to me than the hall sound is. And then I also took the density and took it down to like 0 instead of 10. 10 on a density is where the reverb keeps kind of washing into each other. It's a much smoother reverb effect. The reverb, if I turn the density down, what happens is it just kind of dissipates. It's almost more like a spring reverb or a more vintagey sound. Check this out. See how you almost hear echoes in there also, as opposed to just the warm wash of a verb. You hear almost like little echoes. And that's because the density is brought down. The other thing I'm going to do on here is throw on the tremolo. And that's that kind of pulsing sound. And what the tremolo does is create the kind of volume up and down a little bit. And I have my rate set to about 78, which I believe is probably 78 per second, or I don't know, no, not second, probably a minute, or I don't know. I don't know exactly how the rates work in terms of what the numbers mean. I just know that 78 is pretty fast and it sounds cool. The depth is how much it's going to fluctuate the volume. In this case, I have it at about 50%. So basically, I have a clean sound with a lot of reverb, and it's a plate reverb, the more vintagey. So depending upon which reverb unit you have, you want to try for something that's a little bit more vintagey. And then I have that tremolo pulsing at about 78. There you can hear it. You hear the warmth of everything. Great tone. So if I were to groove on that, you kind of hear. Kind of a nice sound. Okay, so play around with that, and again, you can always experiment. Every time I tell you guys a new sound, I mean for it as something to give you an idea, as an inspiration. You can always make the sound your own and do whatever you want with it. If you want to have more, a faster tremolo, if you will, a deeper tremolo, no problem, man, go for it. In fact, if you come up with some really cool ones, post them on the forum board for the rest of us to enjoy. All right, the mailbag. I got a letter from a gal named Christina, and she said, you know, I never really do any chick music, if you will. So the song she wanted to learn was Jenny on the Block. And I said, well, gosh, there's not really a happening guitar part in Jenny on the Block that I can hear. I just checked it out a little bit, but what I did hear was that little pan fluty sound thing, or some kind of a fluty, panny fluty, something. And the riff was actually pretty cool. I went and I learned it, and I transcribed it for her. So this is for you, Christina. And for all you guys, I know you're going to learn this because it's actually pretty cool, but you'll act like it's really lame. So however you go about it, it's fine. Here's the riff. It's pretty cool. I'll play it once for you, and then we'll learn how to play it. All right, let's take a closer look at it and see how to play it. This whole riff is written in 11th position. So every time we talk about the 11th fret, it will be our first finger, 12 second, 13 third, 14th fourth. So it's this, third string, 13 three times, to 11, back to 13. Second string, 11 three times, then 12, then 14, once each. 12 on the second string, to 11 on the first string, 14 on the second string, 12 on the second string, 13 on the third string. Then 12 on the second string, 14 on the second, 11 on the second, 13 on the third, 12 on the third. So it sounds like this. and regular speed. All right, man, don't be fooled by all the guitars that I got. I'm still Marky from the block. Right. All right, man, now let's move on to our riff of the week. We're going to check out the Norah Jones riff, and we'll apply the finger picking that we did on the chordal section earlier to the riff, and we're going to learn some cool new jazz chords. So here we go.